we have on Mr. Hal Elrod. Today, Hal is going to share how he's overcome extraordinary obstacles and impacted millions of lives. We talk all about his miracle morning, his story. We talk about his entrepreneurial journey. We talk about his app and the journey of building software as a service and so much more. We're going to be diving in. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee! All right, Mr. Hal Elrod, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my brother. I am super excited to rock the mic with you.
Gary, I love your energy, brother, and I love your brand. Happy hustle, dude. It makes me happy. So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm super excited to have you here because I didn't tell you this in the pre-chat, but the Happy Hustle was largely inspired by you and the Miracle Morning. And really, I read your book. I took the Savers framework to heart. And I was like, I need to create something like this for myself and for the world that can really make a positive impact like Hal's doing. And, fast forward, you've sold over 2.5 million copies of your book. You're, a best-selling author, a serial entrepreneur, international keynote speaker. But most importantly, in my book, you're a family man, you're a father, husband, and you're a happy hustler. And I'm really excited to just deep dive into your new and improved, the updated Miracle Morning, which is I don't know how you make it better, but I'm sure you did, I'm excited to talk about that and so much more. But before we get into all that good stuff, Hal, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
I'm pretty OCD, but I feel like it's a very positive, like OCD has a negative connotation. Like I think I crushed it with my OCD. So, meaning so first of all, this is one of 23 heather gray shirts that I have. I used to wear black, but I wanted more color. So I went to heather gray.
Yes.
But I wake up at the same times every day. I eat the same things every day at the same time every day. I go to bed so my wife, she'd probably have different opinion on how positive it is. But that's one thing that not everybody knows about me is I'm very on point with, everything I do, being at the same times. And really it's just a matter of it just makes life easier. I think when you're okay, what are the foods that best serve me? If I were to outline my perfect day of eating, what would that look like? What would I eat first thing in the morning? What would I eat for lunch? What would I eat for dinner? Would I have anything in between? Right. And then what's my optimal, sleep time? What's my optimal? It's really just, I think it's a obsession with optimization. So there's one interesting, behind the scenes fact.
That is interesting, man. I respect the discipline and the routine. I also had legit OCD growing up too. I had to touch things 3 times. I don't ever talk about it, but I had the kind of crazy OCD where I was I feel like yours is healthier than mine was for sure. Because mine was it took me forever to leave anywhere. If I had to flick the light switch in multiples of 3 if it didn't feel right. And I don't talk about it because I beat it with thankfully my mom, she had a holistic remedy that was really just sugar pills. But anytime I felt the urge to touch something 3 times, she was like, take one of your little sugar or your holistic remedy. So it kind of subconsciously tricked me. But yours is way healthier. And I think routine and, as Jocko Willink says, discipline equals freedom, right? So I think your discipline has really served you just in terms of having that routine. I know you created the Miracle Morning because you needed that routine. And for those happy hustlers who potentially have been living under a rock and have never heard of the Miracle Morning, give us a little bit of genesis behind what actually caused you to create the Miracle Morning.
Yeah, it really was the lowest point at that time of my life. I've had a couple lower points since then, which we might get into. But in 2008, when the U.S. economy crashed, I had just bought my first home a year and a half prior. I was living with my future wife. Life was great. I had left a Hall of Fame sales career and I started a coaching business. and I was coaching salespeople and entrepreneurs and like living the dream. Like life was great. And, the economy starts to turn. And I had never really experienced, at least not in my adult life, any kind of recession or, really economic crisis. And so people are talking, are you worried about the economy? You watching the news? And it's like, I remember I would say something like, I create my own economy. I'm not going to listen to what anybody else says. Well, it turns out, recessions are real. And if all of a sudden the people that pay you money are having their own financial challenges, I lost over half of my coaching clients in about 6 months. It was kind of a 6-month
Mm.
downward spiral into depression, financial ruin. My body fat percentage tripled because I canceled the gym membership. I just started eating the cheapest food I could possibly, because I couldn't afford anything. Living on credit cards. I went from being a Dave Ramsey student who lived debt free to having $52,000 on my personal credit card in 6 months. So almost, 10 grand a month I'm putting on a credit card just to survive.
Mm.
And I was really at a low point, and a series of events led me to listen to a Jim Rohn audio. And Jim Rohn, for those who don't know, he was, Tony Robbins' mentor back in the day, and rest in peace. He is not with us
Yeah.
anymore. But Jim Rohn's one quote gave birth to the Miracle Morning, and it changed my life. And so if anybody's listening, if you want to write this one down, Jim Rohn said, your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development. I'll say it
Mm.
again. Your level of success, and again, in any area of life, not just success as as the world defines it, your happiness, your health, your success as a parent, as a spouse. Like if you're measuring success or you call it fulfillment in any area of life, it will rarely exceed your level of personal development. And when I heard that, I had probably even heard it before, but I quantified it and I went, well, wait a minute, on a scale of 1 to 10, what level of success do I want in every area of my life? And I want 10. Everybody wants, if you want your health to be as good as it could be and your financial freedom and all those things. And then I asked myself, and I'd encourage anybody listening to ask themselves this, what's my level? If I need to, for level 10 success, Jim is saying I need my personal development at a level 10. So where is it
Mm.
at? And at that time, it was like a 2 or a 3. Like I didn't have any kind of daily ritual. I was in desperation mode. And I think that's the disconnect for the majority of our society is everybody wants level 10 success, but very few people have a daily ritual that enables them to become the level 10 version of
Mm.
themselves to create the success that they want. And so I ran home kind of optimistic. I thought, okay, I'm going to go online and figure out what do the world's most successful people do for their personal development. I'm going to figure out the best practices and create the ultimate personal development ritual, start doing that every day. And theoretically, that should bump me up from a 2 to a 3 to a 4 to a 5, right? In terms of my knowledge and my confidence and my self-belief and my capabilities and my habits, right? Like that's how I define personal development. It's how are you showing up every day and who are you becoming? That is your
Mhm.
level of personal development. And I ran home and I Googled and I ended up having a list of 6 practices. And I almost threw in the towel because I'm like, well, meditation, yes, I should meditate. Affirmations, okay. Visualization, exercise, reading, journaling. I can't do all of these, and there's not necessarily a clear winner as to which one's the best. And the epiphany was when I went, wait, what if I did all of them? I've
Yeah.
never been a morning person, but what if I woke up tomorrow an hour earlier, as hard as that might sound at the time, and I did the 6 most timeless, proven personal development practices that the world's most successful people in all walks of life have sworn by for centuries?
Yeah.
I thought, theoretically, that should enable me to become the person that I need to be to create and sustain the success that I wanted. I woke up the next morning. I didn't know how to do any of the practices well for the most part, like meditation. I wasn't good. I didn't know how to meditate. Affirmations felt super goofy the way I found them online. Visualization was, awkward for me, all these things. But even at the end of that hour, I thought, wow, I feel incredible. I've been depressed for 6 months, but I don't feel depressed right now. I feel inspired. I feel encouraged. I feel energized. I feel
Mm.
motivated. I feel optimistic. And if I start every day like this, it is only a matter of time before I become the person that I need to be to turn my life around. And I'll close the story with this, Carrie. I was thinking 1 year, right? Like, if I get a little bit better every day, 1 year from now, I can completely turn my life around. In
Mm.
less than 2 months after my very first morning ritual, and I didn't call it the Miracle Morning. This wasn't a book idea. It didn't have a name. But after 2 months of doing these 6 practices, I had more than doubled my income. And this is in the midst of the 2008 recession where the economy got worse, but I
Mhm.
got better. And I remember the moment I saw my wife in the hall. I went to find my wife. She came out of the bedroom. I caught her in the hall. I said, "Sweetheart, I just signed on 2 more coaching clients today. We have officially more than doubled our income since I started that morning routine. It feels like a miracle." And she goes, "It's
Ah.
your miracle morning." And I go, "I like that miracle morning." And I started teaching it to my coaching clients. Like, you got to try this. There was 14 coaching clients. They all resisted. Most of them resisted, saying, "I'm not a morning person." I know. I go, "No, no, no. Neither was I." And I gave them, there's tips I teach in the book on how to beat the snooze button, all that, right? Um,
Mhm.
13 out of 14 clients came to their next call raving about this thing called the miracle morning that I just taught them. And that's when the big light bulb went off. And I went, wait a minute. If the miracle morning changed my life and I wasn't a morning person, and it changed 13 out of 14 of my clients' lives and they weren't morning people, I have a responsibility to share this practice with the world. And
Yep.
I started writing the book. It took me 3 years. I self published it. Nobody knew who I was, but I just kept sharing the message, kept sharing the message, kept sharing the message. I've done 500 and something interviews in the last 10 years. I've been on dozens of TV shows. I've done everything I could to get the word out, and I don't know if you said that, but it's now millions of people in over 100 countries have read the Miracle Morning. Roughly over 1 million of them practice it daily. And the transformations people experience are everything from overcoming mental health issues to losing weight to saving their marriage to making money. It really is whatever you apply your miracle morning to. Like for me in 2008, it was I need to increase my income. That's what happened faster than I ever thought possible. And now I see other people focus it on whatever they want to achieve in their life, and it works.
Oh, I love it, man. So inspiring. Like, it is so cool to hear how it came from really just solving your problem first. And that's,
Yeah.
I think, where most great ideas come from is like you have to think about what problem you have. And I think our mutual friend Rory Vaden talks about like your best position to solve who you once were 5 years ago,
Hmm.
oftentimes. Right. And
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
like
completely.
that is what you did. You were like, I need to figure this out. I need to condense all the greatest personal development and self-improvement practices into a routine. And you did it. And then you shared it. And one thing that I really just want to highlight for all the happy hustlers out there, you actually stuck with it, right? You didn't pivot. You didn't get the shiny object syndrome like we
Mm,
all do in some way, shape, or form. But
yeah.
here you are, still talking about the miracle morning, spreading it to more and more people. And that is like a light bulb moment, even for myself, because
Mm,
that's how I feel about the happy hustle. Like, I want more and more people to know about the 10 alignments of being a happy hustler, our soul mapping framework to blissfully balance your life, both personally and professionally. And it's truly, I give you credit, bro, because I am modeling it after how you built the Miracle Morning and then how you diversified it into the Miracle Morning for entrepreneurs and the Miracle Morning for this person and that, and it's like,
yeah.
it's genius in its simplicity. But most people, they start something, they pivot, they start another thing, they pivot,
Totally.
and it's just this cyclical cycle of, I mean, I don't even know if that's a real thing, cyclical cycle, but it's a cycle, right?
Hey, you're
Of
making up
actually,
words. That's great. Uh,
yeah,
yeah. No, let me
yeah,
speak to that because this is so important, right? This is
yeah.
so important. Um, my goal with the Miracle Morning, like many optimistic entrepreneurs, like the first year the book came out, I go, okay, it's changing lives. I've got to put all my energy into this. And so I thought, all right, what's my goal for the year? What's my mission? And I decided my mission is change 1 million lives one morning at a time, which essentially meant sell 1 million copies of the Miracle Morning.
Mm-hmm.
I was an unknown author. I had no idea how to do that. Right.
Yep.
But I'm like, that'll give me a target to shoot for. And I'm a big fan of, it's another Jim Rohn quote that the purpose of setting a goal is not to hit the goal. It's to give you a direction to move toward that helps you become a better version of yourself. Right.
Yep.
And so I thought, even if I don't reach the goal, if I get halfway there, I'll still have changed 500,000 lives. Right. And I'll keep working on it the rest of my life. At the end that year, I did 150 podcast interviews. I was on over a dozen TV shows. I hired a publicist with money I didn't even have. I was on a credit card, right? Um, I started my own podcast, recorded 52 episodes. And at the end of that year, I literally had done everything in my power to sell 1 million books, as many as I could. and I had sold 13,000 copies at the end of the year. And I want y'all to do some quick math with me. That means I was 987,000 copies short of my goal, right? That means I failed by 98.7%.
Hmm.
And like you said, many authors or entrepreneurs at that point would pivot and be like, eh, I was nowhere near it. I'm going to do something else. But
Yep.
I just paid attention to those 13,000 people. What are they writing reviews on Amazon about how the book changed their life? What are the emails that they're sending to me? I go, okay, I just have to keep going for as long as it takes. And by the way, I
Yep.
did the math as well. And I think it was like, it was going to take me 110 years or 76 years, at
Yeah.
which time I'd be 110 years old to reach the goal at that pace. But it took me 6 years to finally sell 1 million copies. And it's, year one was low, year two was not too. And it just finally, the right people came into my life. And the last thing I'll say on this is, someone once said it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. And I
Yeah.
was talking to my friend Mike Koenigs about that. And he said, that begs the question, what do you believe in enough that you're willing to dedicate 10 years of your life to it so you can
Mm.
reach that point of being an overnight success? And I was like, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. And I've seen authors that I tell that story and they're like, man, I only promoted my book for 6 months. And then I was like, well, I'm going to go do something else, I'm like, and they're like, what if I would be promoting my book 10 years later? What could it have done?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming. But I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that the Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode. Oh yeah. And again, to your point, like that is exactly why like we have the Happy Hustle version 2.0 coming out in November this year. And it's
Nice.
literally the updated and revised version. The first one was like a free plus shipping lead magnet
Yeah.
for our other stuff. This one we really want to take it more mainstream. It's like, kind of like a hybrid publish. And then the next
Okay.
iteration is going to be traditionally published. But I literally said, okay, if Hal can do it
Yeah.
and self-publish, I could do it. And that's, dude, I'm telling you, I'm giving you credit because I love to give credit where
I
credit's
appreciate
due.
it.
You inspired me and you inspired a lot of people. And I know probably people who don't know what the heck the Miracle Morning is like, all right, Hal, what the heck is this Miracle Morning by now? And it's an
Yeah.
acronym, SAVERS. Why don't we get into it just for people
Yeah.
who this is their first time, hearing about it? Give them like, the high level. And then obviously we're going to drive them to
Dive
just
in.
get a copy because it's
Okay.
it's so worth getting the book and just actually, and I know you have an app, which I want to talk about. You have like all sorts of ways that they can, retain this knowledge because I think, the acquisition of knowledge is a dime a dozen. It's everywhere, but
Yeah.
truly like you have to implement the knowledge to make positive change in your life. And I think a lot of people get caught up in this consumption of knowledge phase. So I really like how you have ways to put your knowledge into practice. So let's talk about the SAVERS acronym and actually what the Miracle Morning is in depth, and then we
Yeah.
can go from there.
Yeah, so the Miracle Morning, it's a daily ritual that's designed, to me, there's two benefits. There's like the long-term benefit, and then there's the immediate benefit. The immediate benefit is that when you start your day in a peak physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual state, which the Miracle Morning enables you to do, even if you're not a morning person, which I'll talk about that in a second, um, but you're able to show up at your best every day. Right. And if you sleep until the last minute, you hit the snooze button and then you just walk into the office or go to work or engage with the kids, you haven't primed yourself, right? You haven't put yourself in that peak state. So
Yep.
that's the immediate benefit, is every day you're starting the day at your best. The other benefit, though, the bigger benefit, is it's about becoming, right? Who are you becoming? And the Miracle Morning is this daily practice that enables the 6 most timeless, proven personal development rituals so that you can become the best version of yourself. Or on a scale of 1 to 10, if you want that level 10 life, every day you're working towards becoming that level 10 version of yourself, right?
Hmm.
Um, Now, when I first created the Miracle Morning, as I alluded to in the story, I just Googled best personal development practices, and I found this article. I think it was titled "Fortune 500 CEOs Who Swear by Meditation," and that
Mm.
caught me off guard because at the time I always like meditation. I conjured up images of like monks in a monastery or something, right? And at
Yeah.
this time in my life, all I really cared about is I need to make money because I am in debt and my house is foreclosed on, right? And so um the the premise of these 6 practices are the most proven, and so I assembled them into I assembled the 6 and started doing them every day. But when I was writing the book, I didn't have a way to organize them in a cohesive manner. And
Mm.
one day, my wife, again saw my wife in the hallway. We were at a different house this time because we had moved in with my dad because my house was foreclosed on by the bank. So now I'm living with my dad. But I see my wife in the
Nice.
upstairs hall, and she goes, "What's wrong? You look frustrated." I said, "I've got these 6 practices. They work, but A, I didn't invent any of them, so they're not new. Um, B, uh, I don't have any. I need a way to organize them so they're memorable or they flow together or something." But I thought Robert Kiyosaki's got the cash flow quadrant, and Stephen Covey's got the 7 habits of highly effective people. What am I got? And she goes, "Why don't you get a thesaurus and see if you can trade out any of the words for synonyms, and then create an acronym?" And so meditation became silence, the first S in savers.
Yep.
Affirmations remained, A for affirmations, V for visualization, E for exercise, R for reading. And then journaling became scribing, which is a fancy word for writing or journaling. And and it's amazing now, having watched, the Miracle Morning community, interact. I mean, we have a Facebook group with 300,000 people in it. They engage every day, and people refer to their savers as much, or if not more, than they refer to their Miracle Morning. They did my savers today. Hey, I'm struggling with the savers. Hey, how do you help me with visualization? Right? Like that acronym. And I'll tell you, last thing I'll say on this. Imagine you know who Robert Kiyosaki is, author of Rich Dad
Yep.
Poor Dad,
Yep.
right? So I spoke at an event that Robert spoke at. I gave him a copy of my book thinking, I feel like a loser. I look desperate. He's never going to read it. 3 weeks later, his assistant emailed me and said, "I want Hal on the podcast. I've read the Miracle Morning 3 times. I'm doing it every day and it's changing my life." Yeah, and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, Robert Kiyosaki read my little self-published book 3 times. He's doing it every day. So he's the biggest advocate. He talks about the Miracle Morning in every speech he gives around the world. I've gotten emails from South Africa. "Hey, Robert told me about the Miracle Morning." I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But at the end of our interview, he summed it up really well. He said, "Hal, every successful person on the planet attributes their success to at least one of the savers." He said, "including me. It's the books I've read. I forgot
Mm.
the other practices that he attributed to. But he said, I've never met anyone. Maybe people do 1 or 2 or 3 at the most. I've never met anyone that did all 6 of these best practices every day in a ritual." He said, "That's what's so
Mm.
special about the Miracle Morning, is you've made this simple way where in as little as 6 minutes or as much as an hour, anywhere in between, people can do these 6 timeless practices." And he says, any one of these will change your life. When you do all 6, it really does create miracles. He said, "I think you named the book correctly, the Miracle Morning. That's what this is." And so
Mm.
those are the savers, and I'm happy to go anywhere you want from here.
Wow. Ah, I love it. I mean, truly, I just want to echo a point. The power of branding your IP, right? Because
Mm,
that's what you did. And
yeah.
that's what I mean, that's what I did with the soul mapping framework, because I was like 10 different areas of life. No one can remember 10 different areas of life. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you were
yeah.
thinking, like you gotta, and I did the exact same thing. I got a thesaurus and I looked up synonyms for, selfless service and optimized health and unplugged digitally and loving relationships. Like that's our soul part.
Nice.
Then our
Yeah.
mapping part, mindful spirituality, abundance financially, personal development, passion hobbies, impactful work, and then nature connection. So these are these
Mm,
10 different areas of life that I focus on and that the happy hustlers focus on. And it was largely modeled after, the greats, just like you did. You were like, okay, branded IP is what can build a really powerful movement, and people
yeah.
can, identify with that movement. And that's a really great marketing piece for all the happy hustlers out there. Like your people, and I heard Ed Milet talk about this, your people need to be able to fit your or fit their vision inside of yours. So your vision has to be big enough,
Mm,
and in order to encapsulate their vision and really help them identify with that movement. And that's where I think, the savers and the miracle morning, like people can fit their vision inside of it because it's so versatile, right? And they're able to, really achieve their goals based on whatever route they take it. And for those people who really want to go deeper into savers, like I urge you to just, and I know you have a revised version of the book. Well, just talk to us about like what's different about this version and where can people even go to get it.
yeah, yeah. I'll show it on the screen if you're watching right now. This is the
Yeah.
new. So that up there is the original cover right there with me on sunrise, and then the new one's this bright yellow book. So I've always wanted to update the book. When I was writing the book, Tim Ferriss, the most popular book at the time was the 4 Hour Work Week, and
Yep.
2 years later he came out with the 4 Hour Work Week updated and expanded edition. And even though I was just writing the Miracle Morning, I'm like, one day I'm gonna have an updated and expanded edition. And so the
Yeah.
other thing that I thought is I bought his updated and expanded edition with I didn't think I read what was different. I read his original book and I trusted. I'm like, dude, he knows he's not going to come out with a
Yeah.
new book unless it's good. So I trusted him and it was great, right? Um,
Yeah.
what's different about the new edition? I've added 70 pages of new content. So the original book was a really short 150-page book. This one's now 230 pages. And what's the specific things that are new? I've literally gone through and improved every chapter. Like if you go
Mm.
back and read your old work, like I don't know about you, but I go back and I'm reading stuff I wrote 12 years ago and I'm like, oh my God, this is cringeworthy, dude. Like,
Yeah.
how did this
Yeah.
book even do so well? I sound so cheesy or whatever, right? So I went and I went page by page, line by line, rewrote every page. I added 25 new pages to the Savers content. The Savers
Mm.
chapter was 20 pages in the first book. It's 45 pages now. So I went in the first book, I was still new to meditation. I was new to journaling. You know what I mean? And now over a decade later, I went really deep and I shared, like, for example, my favorite form of meditation I've created over the last, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, I started it. I call it emotional optimization meditation. And unlike a normal meditation where you just follow your breath or, you try to quiet your mind, this is actually a very proactive meditation where it teaches you how to identify your optimal mental and or emotional state for today that you need to embody, and then teaches you how to get into that state and then set your timer for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever you have time for, 1 minute, and meditate. Or I like to use the word marinate, right? It's like you're marinating in that emotional state. You're
Yeah.
hardwiring it into your nervous system so that you can experience more of it as your default way of being. Whether you want to be
Mm.
happy or you want to be confident or you want to be at peace or you want to be playful for your kids on a Saturday morning, that gets you into that state before the day starts. And then
Mm.
there are two brand new chapters that are each of them are over 20 pages long. The Miracle Evening, which is your strategy for blissful bedtime. I know you use that word blissful bedtime and better sleep. And that's coming off of, I went through a period where after I did chemotherapy, I had cancer 6 years ago. And in 2020, I had been doing chemo for 3 years and it just messed up my brain and I stopped sleeping. And I was sleeping like 2 to 4 hours a night for 6 months. And so I
Mm.
went on a mission to figure out how to cure my challenges with insomnia. And so there's 7 steps that are in that chapter, the Miracle Evening. And then the Miracle Life is the last chapter in the new book. And it teaches you, it's your path to inner freedom. It's essentially we've been conditioned to think that when good things happen, we feel good, and when bad things happen, we feel bad. In other words, our internal state is at the mercy of external circumstances. And the
Mm,
miracle life offers a new paradigm, which is no matter what happens, you get to choose how you feel. You can go through even the most difficult times in your life being totally at peace, joyful, grateful, happy, and excited, even while you're in the midst of adversity or tragedy or any other kind of struggle. So the new book is, and I added all new stories from people that have been doing the Miracle Morning over the last 3 years. So it really, because I wanted it to not only appeal to people that haven't read the original book. I've
mhm.
got 2 million people that have read the original book, right? I don't want to exclude them. So I literally
Yeah.
rewrote the new book so that it would meet the expectations of new readers and every person that's ever read the original.
Wow. Man, that's so amazing, like, to hear all those updates, and, I mean, I know a book is a labor of love. It really, like, I urge everyone to write a book because I feel everyone has a book in them. But like to write a book and have the success that the Miracle Morning has, and now to do another version, and to it's almost like the expectations I can only imagine. It's hard to top what you've already done, but I know it will because all of those auditions and the thought and the social proof that you leverage, like people they need to believe that it's possible for them. And I know you do that by leveraging all this social proof and these testimonials. And it's so cool to hear. And people can go to the new miraclemorning.com, right? To pre-order it. Is that the best place?
Yeah, so the book goes up for pre-order. Actually, it's up now, but we have all these pre-order bonuses where if you buy one copy, you get the immediate implementation kit, which is like a master class and preview of the book, and then you get 2 guided meditation app tracks from the Miracle Morning app that are not available anywhere else. They're only going to be
Mm,
for people that pre-order the book. I just had the gal that does all of our guided tracks. It's a Miracle Evening track and a Miracle Life track. So brand new content, only available to pre-order. And then if somebody, if Miracle Morning fans, if you want to buy like 5 books for friends and family, we're doing a live Miracle Your Online event. So anyway, I won't go through all the bonuses, but there's a bunch of bonuses at the new
yeah.
miraclemorning.com. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. We'll definitely, link it up in the show notes. And I urge everyone truly, like, get a copy of this book, get 5, get 10, get 100, share them out. It can change people's life truly. And um, I am curious, like you mentioned the app, and like this is something I've considered greatly, like building SaaS. My tech company in New York City was SaaS, and
Mm,
which is software as a service,
yeah.
for anyone who doesn't know what that means. But um, I'm curious with your journey when it comes to building an app, because I know like it's like it's very attractive and sexy for entrepreneurs to build SaaS, but also it can like be a big time and energy and resource suck of
Yeah.
your just your capital, as well as your every part of you can be poured into an app and it cannot succeed. So I'm just curious with your journey, how has it been building SaaS? I like to tailor it towards your entrepreneurial venture because you're a heck of an entrepreneur as well, man. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, how's heck of an entrepreneur, not just a great author. So, talk to us a,
Yeah.
a little bit about that journey to building the app, and like maybe the greatest lesson you learned from it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a friend who is on my team now. We were friends before he was on my team. His name is Josh Eidenberg, and he's built some apps over the years. And he always said you need a Miracle Morning app. Everybody in the Miracle Morning community, they want it. They want something to track their savers. They want guided
Yep.
practices, on and on and on. But over the years, I got quotes, and like I wanted the ultimate app, right? Like I
Yeah.
wanted it to be like people right now for their Miracle Morning, they use an affirmations app, and they use a visualization app, and they use a meditation app, and they use maybe like a 7-minute workout app, and they use a journaling app, and they use a reading app, right?
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
always like, I want the Miracle Morning app to replace all of them. And the
Yeah.
quotes I got to build that were anywhere from like 150 grand to 200 grand, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just couldn't stomach investing that kind of money, not knowing if I would ever have an ROI, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I kept telling Josh whenever he would bring it up, and he said, "Okay, what could you justify investing in an app, risking not knowing if there's going to be an ROI?" And I'm like, I don't know, $10,000. Like I'll put 10 grand up. And he's like, okay. So he goes, why don't we build a minimal app that does, he goes, let's survey the community, right? So a very important part,
Yeah.
survey your audience, ask them, if you had a Miracle Morning app, what would you like? And we gave them a bunch of options, and then we gave blank space to make suggestions, right? And
Mm.
the biggest answer that came is, I want something to track my savers and that shows me like streaks, like, hey, you click off your S, click off your A, click off your V, right? And then at the end of it, it's like, hey, confetti. And then it shows you've done day 1, day 2, day 3, right? So they
Yeah.
wanted help with accountability, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And so we built this app for $10,000, and we sold it for $5 per app. And I think we sold 15,000 of them in the first maybe a couple of months, or maybe 4 months, 6 months, I don't remember it, at some point. And we then started all of that money, 100% of it, I should say 200% of it, I think, because we just kept investing. But basically, but that gave us the capital to like make the app amazing. And then we kept
Yeah.
edifying and getting feedback, and edifying and getting feedback. Or not edifying, wrong word, but just modifying.
Yeah.
And so now, and then we made the app free, and we launched a subscription model, because we started,
Mm.
we found people that would make guided savers tracks. And that's what
Mm.
differentiates the Miracle Morning app. Because that's the thing, is how are you going to differentiate? If I made a
Yeah.
meditation app, I'd be competing with Calm and Headspace, and right, like
Yeah.
the big players out there. So granted, I am competing with those apps, I would say, but here's the point.
Yeah.
This is the only app that has guided savers tracks, where you
Yeah.
literally hit play and you're guided through your silence, your meditation, then you're guided through your affirmations, and then your visualization, and then, hey, it's time to get up and move your body. You're guided through your
Yeah.
exercise. So you literally can complete a Miracle Morning in like 10 minutes by hitting play and just doing what you're guided through, right? So it's a
Yeah.
real different. And then we're adding, there's a journal, there's a built-in journal in there. There's an affirmations creator. There's now book summaries. Like, we're just making it the I mean, it's pretty close to the ultimate app, but we're
Yeah.
just making it better and better and better. And now it's a subscription. So I think we're up to, I think 10,000 subscribers. I
Wow.
think, if I'm wrong on that, it might be 8,000, but we're up to 8 or 10,000 monthly subscribers, and it's going to keep
Wow.
growing. And to keep in mind, the Miracle Morning book, tells people, hey, if you want to get the free app, you can. And then that
Yeah.
way people are, so that way the book itself promotes the app, and then the app promotes the book.
Yeah. Genius, man. Like,
There's the Miracle Morning app right in the back of the
yep.
book. And
Yeah.
then the movie, we have a documentary as well. So that just also, people that won't read a book, but they'll watch the documentary, because they're like, dude,
Yeah.
I don't read self-help books, but their friends are like, okay, watch this movie. It's awesome. It's like 90 minutes of your life. Then they watch the
Yeah.
movie and they're like, oh my gosh, this book is changing millions of lives. I think I'm going to start reading a self-help book,
Yeah.
So
No, it's
that's one thing to think about. It all supports, like for you, it'd be the Happy Hustle brand
yeah.
and mission, right? Like, everything I say yes to has to support the Miracle Morning mission, because that is my life's work. And if it's,
Mm.
oh, this can make you a bunch of money if you say yes to this, if it's not aligned with the mission, it's a no.
Yeah. And that's genius, man. And really like how everything works symbiotically in this beautiful ecosystem, and they all support one another and drive to each other. And the key point here too is people learn differently. Like,
Sure.
there's visual learners, there's auditory learners. Like for me, I have, this 30 30 30 system of guaranteed growth that I do every day, which is 30 minutes of reading in the morning, 30 minutes of listening in the afternoon, 30 minutes of watching something, all inspirational and educational
Nice.
content. And it's like, because I know it hits the brain centers differently, and I like to expand that type of learning. And so you hit those different components of learning with the app, the book, you have the movie, you have, the website, and you have your social media and your videos, all
Yeah.
sorts of ways to serve. And obviously, like, this is, Hal, who's been doing it for a decade plus, right?
Sure.
So like, don't get discouraged, people, when you're just starting out. Like, pick a vertical, crush that vertical, right? If it
Yeah.
is a book,
Yeah.
crush it with the book, then you can iterate and evolve. I just think, the app is for the right people, an amazing opportunity to increase enterprise value and 10x, like, truly your valuation. And I don't know if you ever plan on selling or not selling, but the point is, when you have something that has that enterprise value, like an app, like software, it has the potential to transform lives at scale and
Yeah.
your life whenever, if you do choose to exit. And the other key thing that I want to just reference for positive change, it requires three things: expert mentorship, accountability, and community, right? And you have all
Mm,
three
mm,
with the Miracle Morning. And the key thing I really want to dig into is the community for you. Like, you
yeah.
built this amazing community, hundreds of thousands of people in just a Facebook group alone, not to mention the people who aren't even like in the Facebook group. What would you recommend to all the creators out there, all the happy hustlers out there, to really build a true community?
Yeah, I think that the community will be a reflection of you, right? So
Mm,
your vision, your passion, your mission, right, and how enthusiastically and authentically you communicate that. So
yep.
the Miracle Morning mission is, it used to be to change 1 million lives one morning at a time, and then once 1 million people's lives were changed, I'm like, oh, I need a new mission, right? And I
Yeah,
was just going to
yeah.
make it 1 billion. I'm like, that'd be an easy. Just how about change 1 billion lives one morning at a time? And I almost did that, and then a conversation with a buddy of mine, he just got me thinking outside the box. And he was like, what's the miracle? He goes, what does humanity need right now? What's the Miracle Morning do? And we started like brainstorming all these different things. And the Miracle Morning mission became to elevate the consciousness of humanity one morning
Mm,
and one person at a time. And
mm,
that's not just hyperbole, it's not just a cute tagline. The way that I define this is, when you do your Miracle Morning every day, you're elevating your own consciousness by becoming more
yep.
aware of how your thoughts, your words, and your actions impact your life and the lives of
Yeah.
every person that you touch. And the
Yeah.
opposite of that would be to be unconscious, which is how most people aren't super aware of how their thoughts are impacting their life, their words are impacting their life, and their actions are impacting their life. We just go through the motions and just unconsciously wake up,
Yeah.
eat our breakfast, go to work, do the thing, watch the TV, do it again, right?
Yeah.
So as you elevate your own consciousness every day with your Miracle Morning practice, and as now there are millions of people doing that, right? That is elevating the consciousness of humanity, right? Because every parent that does the Miracle Morning is impacting their entire family. Every
Yep.
CEO that does the Miracle Morning is impacting their entire employees and their customer, right? On and on and on. So,
Yeah.
point is, you've got to have, Lewis Howes calls it a meaningful mission. You have to have a
Yeah.
meaningful mission in that you really believe in, and then you speak on, right? So that's a first part of it. Um,
Yeah.
and then from there, so this, and I will be totally transparent. This happened a little bit by accident. The Miracle Morning book was written, and a buddy of mine, I had a handful of my friends read the manuscript for any last minute changes, and he said, "Do you have like an online community where people can like connect about the Miracle Morning?" I was like, "No, I didn't even think about that." And he said, well, think about it. It's kind of like a lonely practice, like you're by yourself, you're waking up early, everybody else is sleeping. And he said,
Yeah. Yeah.
without support, it would be really easy to fall off a bit. I was like, good
Mm.
point. And he's like, why don't you set up a Facebook group? So I set up a Facebook group with like me and my 5 buddies and my mom and dad and my sister. Like, and
Yeah.
but I put in the book early on, right in the beginning, a special invitation: join the Miracle Morning community, and I had a URL, miraclemorningcommunity.com. Right, they can go to, and it redirected to the Facebook group, and then people started joining, and then I would engage and post every day inspirational stuff, and it grew, and then I started thinking, okay, like I need to set people up to engage with each other. So I put up a post that's like, hey, if you're new, introduce yourself and share like what you hope to use the Miracle Morning to achieve in your life. And
Mm.
then like step one, step two, step three, and then go comment on somebody else's post. So it
Yeah.
created this like automated like engagement, right?
Yeah.
And now I still check in, not every day, but almost every day. And I
Yeah.
usually comment on some posts, but I can't keep up. You're not even close, right?
Yeah.
In,
Yeah.
in fact, now we have moderators that moderate that group. But that's it. So you have to have a mission that people are inspired by, that they want to rally around. You have to
Yep.
translate that mission into something, and I didn't say this earlier, but like it's got to add value for them, right? It's got to add value for them. And then our friends here. And then you've got to set up a way where they can engage with each other. So
Yeah. Yeah. That was strange. Garrett Gunderson wanted to join the recording.
yeah,
That's
isn't that
and he's the
you're
one
so
who introduced
self-aware.
us. Dude,
That's
that's
so
very
funny.
strange.
He's like, I want to be a part of
Um,
this.
yeah, for real. Well, dude, that's I mean, so powerful. And the meaningful mission, having a community, creating that accountability, having like a place where everyone can support one another. And I really love your mission right now to just elevate the consciousness. Very similar to my wife, Steph. She's, all about elevating, consciousness, and she's creating ethical studios, like a film studio here in Montana to create
Oh wow.
conscious films. So I got to hook you two up with her,
Yeah.
down the road. But one thing I heard you say that I really want to just highlight, and you talked about enlightenment, and you
Mm,
said enlightenment to you is need nothing, enjoy everything, and love all.
yeah.
So profound, so simple yet profound. Just expand on that version of enlightenment.
Yeah. Yeah, I will, and then I'll say it's evolved a bit since then, and that's still the foundation. But so when I was 20 years old, I was in a head-on collision with a drunk driver, and I was found dead at the scene. I woke up from a coma 6 days later. I had 11 broken bones. I was told I would never walk again. Pretty disturbing way to wake up and a reality to
Yeah.
face. And I had this mindset that like I'm going to overcome this, and then I'm going to help other people with my story, which is how I got started on this path. I believe the first book I was introduced to that I would say is in the realm of enlightenment was Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, right? Which a lot of people's first foray into like that kind of spiritual journey. And then I started going into like Ken Wilber and Andrew Cohen, like some high level, like really hard, like hurts your head when you read it. But I really
Yeah.
dove deep into enlightenment. And I got to a place where, yeah, that my motto was need nothing. Mean be at a place where you're completely whole in and of yourself, right? From a spiritual
Mm.
perspective, right? So
Yep.
not like don't need God, right? But like don't need money to feel fulfilled. Don't need significance from other people to feel whole. Don't right, but be completely whole in yourself. And again, I would say like your relationship with with spirit. Um, need nothing, enjoy everything, which is like we've got one life that we've been blessed to live. Why wouldn't we enjoy every moment? And that was actually born from my car accident. I was so happy in the hospital, even though I had 11 broken bones and I was told I would never walk again, that the doctors thought I was in denial. They thought I was delusional because I was so happy. Like, that's not normal. But for me, I
Yeah.
realized I can't change that I was in a car accident. I'm going to have to learn to walk again, or I'm never going to walk again. I'll be in the wheelchair the rest of my life. But I might as well be the happiest and the most grateful I've ever been while I go through this. It's going to make it a lot easier and more enjoyable and tolerable. So enjoy everything, and then love all, which is just love yourself, love life, love other people. And that to me is like I think that right now our society is more divided than I've seen it in my relatively short lifetime. And I
Yeah.
think that people are clinging to the perceived differences that we have far more than realizing that as human beings, we will always have infinitely more in common than we will ever have different. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what
Yeah.
your stance is on this topic or that topic. You're a human being. I'm a human
Yeah.
being. We are literally brothers and sisters in the context of humanity and the human race. And we should love each other and we should
Yeah.
forgive each other and we should hold space for each other and have empathy for each other, right? And if we do, the world's going to be a lot better place. And so
Mm.
that's it. It's in, need nothing to feel whole and complete. Enjoy every moment of this one life you've been blessed to live, and love all while you're on that journey.
Oh, so good, man. Jeez, I got a little goosies, just the tingles. I mean, gets me fired up just hearing people like you preach the truth, and like it's so powerful. I hope everyone just goes back and rewinds and hears that monologue from Hal. We're gonna
Hmm.
definitely, chop that up as a hot promo clip to share out because that thing was absolute fire, brother. And I could talk to you for hours, and I hope we continue to collab and you come out to Montana with the fam and
Heck
and
yeah,
uh,
I'd love to.
come on one of the masterminds or whatnot. But I do want to respect your time, and I want to just put you through a couple of the happy hustle hack questions.
Let's do it. And I
These
got
are,
a few more
you know,
minutes, so you take whatever
okay.
you need.
All right, thanks, man. So first and foremost, health. I know it's a priority in your life, as is mine. I like to ask happy hustle hacks, like a tip, a tool, a tactic, something unique that you do that not too many people, others maybe do. What would you say? is a happy hustle hack for your health right now that we could deem and share with the happy hustlers out there?
Yeah, I'd say that one thing that's a little different. I mean, for me, I used, I went through, I was like totally vegan for a while, and went back and forth through different ways of approaching diet. Now I say that I'm raw, organic, vegan by day and paleo by night. Right. So,
Nice.
meaning that like I want to eat raw, living foods that are full of energy throughout the day. So, that's a smoothie in the
Yep.
morning, salad at lunch. Right. And then at night, I want to make sure I'm nourishing with protein and vitamin B12 and so on and so forth. And so that would be that hack. And I want to say, last thing I say on this in terms of eating healthy, one of the fundamental shifts in my mindset was, if you ask most people how they choose the food that they order off a menu, buy at the grocery store, it's almost most people, it's taste and texture. Like, you think about it, if you look at a menu and you go, oh, that looks so good, that's an emotional response you have to the food right there. You're not asking what I think you should be asking, which is, what food will add the most value to my health and my longevity? And then it's
Mm.
making a decision to value the benefits of the food and the consequences of the food above the taste of the food. So if you can take anything away from this to help make healthy decisions, it's learn to value the benefits and the consequences of the food you put in your body above the taste. And then once you find foods that are healthy, find the ones that taste like, I don't eat anything that I don't love the taste of, but everything that I eat, it first has to be healthy and then it's got to taste great.
Yeah, that's gold. I mean, and so many people complicate diet, and like it's just it's sad to me, but really, like, I believe it's more important what you don't eat than what you do eat. So stop shoving crap down your pie
Sure,
hole.
totally.
You know what I mean? For lack of a
Yep.
better term. But anyway, let's talk
Yep.
about money. I think money is a tool. It's a frequency. It makes you more of who you truly are, right? But it's important to be a happy hustler. You got to save and invest and spend wisely. Let's talk about a happy hustle hack for money, something that you do that maybe is a little unique when it comes to money.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is focusing on, and there will be a caveat to this, but multiple streams of income. You think about it, if we are dependent on one stream of income, like 2008 is when I learned this lesson. I made all of my money as a coach. And when the economy crashed and I lost over half of my clients, lost over half of income, I had no other sources of income to pour energy into and to
Mm,
right. And then after that happened, I made money. I go, okay, from now on, I'm going, and then I launched a career as a speaker. I go, from now on, I'm going to build a second stream of income. And then once that's built out, I'm going to build a third stream of income. And once that's built out, I'll build a fourth stream of income, right? And so, like for me, every book on the wall that you see behind me, each one of those is its own stream of income, right? It's almost like every time you write a new book, it's like acquiring a rental property where you're making profit over the mortgage.
yeah.
So, and then in the past, I've had speaking, or I still have speaking. I have the app, right? So, I don't think somebody should go try to divert their attention into multiple streams of income if one of them is not sustainable at first, right? Like, you've got to build them one at a time. But
Yeah.
once you've got one that is sustainable, focus your energy on building a second one, and that way, and that's even if you're an employee, right? Like, because as you know, you think you got this job. I've been with the company for 20 years, and then, oh, they're laying everybody off. Like,
Yep.
I should have had a second source of income to fall back on.
Yeah. Yeah. Really sage words. And, people are like, I want passive income. And I'm like, there really isn't such a thing. It's almost passive
Yeah,
income
yeah,
is
yeah,
is possible, but like everything requires active activity in some way, shape, or form initially. So to your point,
yeah,
be active, focus, get something going, and then create another stream. That's, yeah, sage words. Let's talk about spirituality. You know, I think it's so
mm,
important to believe in a higher power. For me, my dad is technically Catholic. My mom was technically Jewish. I'm like this religious mutt, but I just believe in God. I was raised, Taoism. I trained martial arts with like a Taoist priest and kung fu master early on, so that like shaped me. And then I got into Buddhism, and I got into a little bit of everything. But I just believe in a higher power.
yeah,
I'm not like one religion or another. I just think it's important to
yeah,
have faith in something bigger than yourself. And I know you're big into faith in a higher power. What would you say is a happy
yeah.
hustle hack for spirituality that you could share?
Yeah, I think that it's not. deciding that you have it all figured out, which I think a lot of people, it's like, oh, I learned this and I believe this is the truth, and therefore that's all I believe. And the thing about that is that discounts every other truth, right? Like with religion, I think there's something like 3,000 religions, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And probably most of them preach that this is the right one, right? So the other
Yes.
2,000, and so for me, the way that I look at it here would be, I guess, my hack is just realizing, and you're a perfect example because you live Jewish parent,
Yeah.
Catholic parent.
Yeah.
To me, people are like different religions are man's way or human's way of trying to understand that higher power that you speak of, and
Mm.
just to be humble and be like, I'm gonna learn. I'd actually say, rather than hanging my hat on one religion, I mean, I would identify as Christian. I studied Jesus Christ. I modeled Jesus Christ, right? But I don't believe that someone in another religion that like, oh, that, yeah, you got it wrong. You got to come over here. It's like, oh, you have your own path to God, to this higher power, and that 3,000 religions, 3,000 different paths toward the same thing. And obviously there's lots of caveats in some religions.
Yeah.
They might be sacrificing something, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not hanging my hat on that, but the point being is just like it's exactly, I think we're on the exact same page, Carrie, which is like, I've had a relationship with God since I was a little kid, and I don't need to label what
Yeah.
I am to have that relationship. To me, the relationship's the most important part. And I do believe that in religion, there are lots of some amazing values that I want my children to be exposed to, such as the 10 Commandments. And right, I mean, there's great virtues and values in religion. I mean, I have one of my best friends. She is Jewish, and I actually am often jealous of how she grew up. Like the Jewish religion has so many amazing traditions and rituals and holidays that are very much personal development, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
oriented. I think is it what's there's one happening, I think this weekend, last weekend and this weekend. There's two that are happening.
Yeah.
You know what they are?
Rosh Hashanah, I believe.
Rosh Hashanah and Shabbat, maybe.
Shabbat. Well, yeah. I see. Don't get me. Don't put me on the spot with
Anyway,
Judaism, brother.
no, I'm sorry. I just put you on the spot here. Yeah,
Okay. I'm like,
you're
I
like,
told
Mom,
you, I
I
was
hope you're
like,
not listening.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry, all my
Yeah,
Jewish
yeah.
ancestors.
No,
No.
yeah, but no, but I'm on the same page with you.
Yeah, no, man, it's just awesome uh, to hear your perspective, and I just think spirituality has to be a part of the conversation, and we'll leave it at that. But
Totally.
for everyone, just believe in something bigger than yourself. Hal, this has been phenomenal. I do want to put you through the Happy Hustle rapid fire round. So this is where I just ask you random questions, and you just answer honestly first thing
Okay.
that comes to mind.
Quick
All right,
answers.
all right. Are you ready?
All right.
Favorite
Yep.
food? Go.
Uh, actually, Urban Remedy salads that I order from urbanremedy.com.
Okay, nice. Favorite
Yeah.
movie?
Favorite movie? Ooh, I don't have one. Nothing comes to mind.
Favorite book?
I have to say The Miracle Morning. Beyond that, I would say, again, it's hard to have a favorite, but Michael's favorite author, Michael Singer, and his books, The Untethered Soul,
Yeah,
Living Untethered, and The Surrender Experiment. So I'll say favorite author. Yeah, Michael
yeah.
Singer.
Fun fact: I know Mickey, and my brother was his personal mentee in Alachua, Florida. So if you ever want to go to meditate at the Temple of the Universe, let me know. Uh,
I do. Yes.
yeah,
Let's connect after this.
yeah. Um, okay. Best business advice.
Ooh, focus on serving others. Selflessly add value. And the more value that you add to others, you'll become known as someone that serves and adds value. And people will come to you wanting to support you, support your work, support your business, not because you tried to get as much as you could out of them from day one, but because you tried to give as much as you could from day one. And then it'll come back. I call it you can be selflessly selfish or selfishly selfless, right? Where you know that if you serve others, it's going to benefit you, and that's okay.
Yeah, love that. What's your spirit animal?
I don't know. I don't have one.
First thing that came to mind.
It was like a fox.
Okay, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Three things you're most grateful for.
Ursula, Sophia, and Halston.
Love that. And if you had a
My
billboard
wife
for
and
the
my two
world to
kids.
see with your last piece of content on it, what does that billboard read, Hal?
Um, You are just as deserving, worthy, and capable of everything you want in life. And now it's time for you to live in alignment with that truth.
Boom. Man, brother, you crushed that rapid fire round. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you. Thank you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your miracle morning, your unapologetic self. And really, again, I just look to you as an inspiration and just what you've been able to create and how many lives you positively impact. Man, just truly honored. And yeah, just grateful for you. So thank you again.
Thank you, Carrie. I so appreciate it. I'm so grateful that I've been able to impact you and now you're impacting so many people. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Heck yeah. Culminate everything we talked about into one call to action for everyone out there listening and just mention where they can get the book again.
Yeah, I would go to miraclemorning.com because that's the hub for everything. You'll find the app there, you'll find the documentary there, you'll find the community there, and of course you'll find the new Miracle Morning updated and expanded edition at I dropped it. Miraclemorning.com. And thank you
Love
so
it.
much. It means a lot to me. And I hope to see you in the Miracle Morning community. I check in there, like I said, almost every day. And I hope the Miracle Morning blesses your life as it has mine and so many other people.
Heck yeah, man. All right, final question, Hal. What does happy hustling mean to you?
It means loving the life you have while you create the life of your dreams, right? Don't wait to love your life until it's different or better or what you think you want or need. Decide that, you know what, I'm going to wake up every day. I'm going to love my life exactly as it is, faults, challenges, all of it. And I'm going to take consistent action every day to create the life that I really want. I'm going to do both of those simultaneously. That to me is the definition of happy hustle.
Ooh, mic drop, y'all. Hal Elrod, thank you again for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everyone.